Oh, welcome to the Armchair Sports Guys. We are here 4 times today here. Unfortunately, Sean Farhadian is off, so we swapped him out for a new Sean. We got Mr. Sean Sweeney from the Bay State SoccerSentinel.com. You can find him on Twitter at Mr. Sean M. Stands for Marvelous.
You're not
Sweeney
wrong.
on Twitter. He is going to talk what we all want to talk about, and I know these other guys are interested, is soccer, bitches. Ole, 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 ole. Give me some Vuvuzela action. This is what I need right now. This is what I'm excited about.
What the fuck, we? You said you just wanted us to come along.
We,
He's a
it's a
Frenchman.
collective we. I'm telling you right now, the MLS, the first, I know, Sean, not the first, but the first big major five of the sports coming back. Not your Major League Baseball. Those guys suck during a labor disagreement. Not the NBA, because dumbass Kyrie wants to get his panties up in a bunch because he can't play and doesn't want to
Kyrie
do
Irving.
drugs and party while he's with his buddies down in Orlando. And
Cocaine and
the
hookers, my friend.
national NHL still getting back,
That's
has a
terrible.
plan, but nobody knows when a start date is, and football's not there yet. So guess what, bitches? You're going to be watching MLS, and you're going to love it. You know why? Because Mr. Sweeney's going to tell us about it. So, Sean, I got to ask, first of all,
George,
how the hell are you?
George,
Yes.
I have a question to ask you.
Fire away, sir.
What drugs are you on? And can I have some?
Never
Yes.
drink the bong water, George.
He took the red pill.
You have no idea. So here's the thing, Sean. I'm going to let you know a little secret. To paraphrase the movie Miracle, these guys don't know a touchline from a clothesline, okay? So I am excited
No,
to
it's not
talk
clothesline.
footy with somebody who actually knows about soccer.
Oh,
Not
I'm
these
glad-
guys who
I'm
just
glad
nod their
somebody
head and
thinks
go,
they do.
yeah, not these guys who know. Well, I mean, at least I look at the scarves behind you and hope you might have a clue.
Oh, I do.
you,
None of
mate,
these
yeah.
guys have scarves, so I'm going with you as our expert. So welcome
Okay.
aboard to the Armchair Sports Guys.
So
So
it's a pleasure to be here, gentlemen. I know you guys don't usually talk about world football. So how can I enlighten you this evening?
So explain to us, what is soccer?
Soccer is a gentleman's game.
Oh, excellent.
Not really. Not really.
Not even
Is
close.
that thing? Is that thing with the tree and the stick? Because I
No.
done played a match two that time.
No, that's cricket, sir. You've got the totally wrong sport.
This
I thought it was
ain't
called
This is a different
football.
podcast. This is a different
Then
podcast.
this toast don't need my jam.
Soccer's a game played all around the world. 200 some odd countries play the sport. They all try to qualify for the World Cup every 4 years, and most of these countries have their own domestic soccer league, which Major League Soccer is the top division in the United States, followed by the USL Championship. That's the second division, and then USL League One, USL League Two, and that's pretty much it because of they consider the rest to be the amateur levels. So
I actually worked and actually, as I sit here, I had it handy. I worked for a soccer club. I'm going to pimp them for a quick second. Great Lowell
Greater
United
Lowell
FC.
United.
Yep.
Yes.
So, and the NPSL.
the old Greater
The old Greater Lowell United. So
old
I'm
Greater Lowell.
familiar with soccer and how it works. So I know there's not the relegation that they have, and these guys
Right.
know there's not the relegation they have like they have in other divisions, like the EPL and Serie A and the Bundesliga,
Right.
which I know we've been watching a little. We've been talking about it. I have a quick question on the Bundesliga before we really get into the the MLS. I'm sorry. Do you like the crowd noise or not? I don't know if I like it. I kind of like the match played as is, and I want to hear what the players say. I want their nuance there.
Is that
the
Even though I
piped
can't
in?
understand what they're saying. But
That's the piped in noise, right?
Yeah.
yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
because right now the German Bundesliga is not playing with fans.
Can they?
Not-
Can
they-
they? I know some. No, they can't at all. They're
No.
And they're not playing with. They're not going to be playing with fans in England. They're obviously not going to be playing with fans in the United States.
How do you feel about the soccer? Do you think it's changed? Do you think
No, football's football.
No, but I mean,
You know-
like, do you think like there's okay, and I know you've got a Liverpool scarf on the back, and I'm a huge Liverpool fan. There's a
I'm
huge
sorry.
difference when you go to Anfield. That's all right. You'll grow out of whoever you root for and become a real boy once in a while. So all I'm saying is when you go to Anfield.
So said by a guy who follows a team who has not won First Division in 30 years. Okay.
Until this year, you're welcome.
Until this year.
Hey, at least he's housebroken.
When you walk through the storm.
I see
but
a
anyway,
slap fight coming on. That's just me.
Nonetheless.
Georgie, who sings that song?
Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Let him sing it.
You're welcome. I'll be here all week. Tip your waitress.
Well played, sir. Well played.
So,
Well played.
I know that F all of you guys, all right?
Hey,
Especially
George,
the guys on the
George,
show.
relax. I mean, he can't know that much about soccer. He's got his high school banner hanging behind him.
That's fair.
That is true.
That was actually a fundraiser for our ski club.
Oh,
And my
nice.
wife-
A
Oh, I
scarf.
bet you crushed it.
I draw the
did.
line at skiing. I'll talk soccer.
I hear you
I'll
on
nod.
touch.
I'll ask a couple questions. I fucking draw the line at skiing. Out.
After this, Sean's going to be like, "Hey, Ma, I'm finished with my segment."
Those background noise.
I can't breathe.
This is great. This is great. 5 minutes into the soccer show, we're off the rails and ready to go.
Sean, just tweet all of us and just belittle
You know
every
what?
one of us.
I have it right here. High school banner behind Sean.
I feel like I need a
Hey,
yellow card
hey.
right now.
Okay, to be fair, my wife teaches at my alma mater, where I went to high school, and I support my high school along with writing about them. So you know what? Kiss my ass. Hey?
A respectful slap in the face and come back. I can do it.
I love it. So, I guess back to the real thing.
The crowd
The
noise,
Bundesliga, the crowd noise, not a big
I have
deal.
no problem with it.
Okay.
I have watched MLS preseason games where you're hearing all the conversation on the pitch. And that's actually wonderful because you don't usually hear that at Gillette. And, this is the time to say, oh, well, there's no one at Gillette. How can you not hear it?
Yeah.
Well, you can't. You can't. And that's completely fair. So, but yeah, I have no problem with it. If that's what they want to do to try to create some ambiance in a stadium that is usually full and usually having banners waved and crowds
Bundesliga is like their
chanting
stadiums are like 110,000. It's like going to the big house in Michigan and watching
Allianz
soccer.
Arena is massive. The place where Borussia Dortmund play probably about 3/4 of that size of the Allianz, but still, German football, you really cannot go wrong with it. And you know what? Bayern Munich might just win the Champions League for like the second time in 3-4 years. So anytime that you can watch German football, you do it. They were the World Cup champions 2 years ago. They laid an egg in the 2000 Euros. And they all came together. Taylor Twellman said it when the U.S. failed to qualify for the World Cup in 2017. They all came together and they said, you know what, we're going to win a World Cup. And that's what they did. So you know what, I always credit, good leagues, and the Bundesliga is without a doubt one of the top football leagues in the entire world.
Right. No, absolutely. Well, let's start talking about some MLS and what we came here to do. So I know they're starting with, when we were talking a little bit of a segment about the World Cup, the MLS is starting sort of a big tournament down in Orlando, and like their version of a bubble down in Orlando, down in the Disney area. So tell us, how is this whole thing going to start? What's the teams to look for, players to look for as this tournament kind of progresses?
Well, we're going to start it off on July 8th. And it's going to run until the middle of August 11th. They actually had the draw for this event last Thursday. The Revs were drawn into Group C with Eastern Conference opponents in. Oh, good! I'm actually on the screen. Holy crap!
Yeah, we're gonna
I
pop
can't
you right
believe
on.
that.
Yeah, so we'll get you.
What do you think we are, nerds?
Nerds, nerds, nerds.
Nerds.
They're going to be in Group C with Toronto FC, Montreal Impact, who they played in the season opener this year, and Original 10 outfit, DC United. So it's all familiar opponents. They split it up by conferences. There's one group in the Eastern Conference with 6 teams. They moved Nashville, the new team in Nashville, over to the Eastern Conference to even things out because there would be 13 teams in each conference. So they put 14 in the East, 12 in the West. So there's one group of 6, 2 groups of 4 in the East, and then 3 groups of 4 in the West. So they'll have, they're kind of round robining that group A, and then C, B, C, D, E, and F are all going to be 1 versus 1, the way they usually do it in like the World Cup, like
the
group
knockout stages, correct?
And then the knockout stages will follow.
Right.
The top 2 teams in each group will advance like they do in the World Cup. And then they're going to have the top 4 third-place finishers like they had in the World Cup before they expanded from 24 teams in 1994, when the World Cup was last here in the United States, to when they went to 32 teams in 1998, and which is what they've been doing up until this next World Cup. And then they're going to obviously expand it
Right.
to 40 teams in 2026. But you look at what MLS has had over the last couple of years. LAFC is one of those teams where you better play your best football against them. And sometimes even your best football is not going to work because they have so many weapons between Carlos Vela and quite a lot of players. I don't really pay attention to the Western Conference, but LAFC is one of those wonder teams that have really burst onto the scene in the last couple of years, with the exception of like an Atlanta United. Atlanta United came in 2016, 2017, and have absolutely wiped the floor with pretty much everyone in the East, including the Revs on a couple of occasions. Atlanta's a team that can win it. Seattle's the MLS Cup holders; they can win it. And right now, I think that with only 2 games under your belt so far before
I was going to say
the league goes on the hiatus that they have for the last 3 months, and by the time that we kick off, it's going to be another month. So everyone is playing on the same level right now.
People forget they weren't even in a full blown season yet. They had literally just started.
Yeah, 2 games.
We had just started. The first match week was the last week of February. Last weekend of February, and then the Revs had their home opener the following weekend, and then we were preparing for the game against Portland, the Sunday afternoon game that next weekend, and COVID-19 wiped everything else. Thank you, Rudy Gobert. But
right.
But yeah, I mean, that was going to happen anyway. So people have lived with it, and obviously, they're going to Orlando for this tournament, just like the NBA is, like the WNBA is going to Bradenton. NHL is having their pool play in Las Vegas, and I think Pittsburgh. I think that was the other location that the NHL has selected. MLB, who knows what the frick they're doing? But yeah, it's gonna start in a couple of weeks, and it's gonna be good that there's gonna be some football to be played.
So give us a couple teams to watch. As far as coming out of either the East or the West and as players, and then I do want to talk about the Revs because I'll be honest with you. I'm really excited about this Revs team, and it's for one reason only, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But on this group stage and that sort of World Cup tournament, what are we looking for? I mean, is this going to be sort of high-paced, high action because every game's going to count because these are going to count towards standings and points? And what
At least the
teams are you
group
looking
stage
to?
will.
Right.
Definitely LAFC, Atlanta, Seattle, Toronto. I think those 4 teams are really the teams you really want to look at. They were the semifinalists last year in MLS Cup playoffs. Obviously, you want to take a look at the Revs with what they have. Of course, I have said every year for the last 5 years that they have so much offensive firepower that can put the ball in the net at any time. But you know what? They don't have the silverware to show for it. So take that with a grain of salt. But you want to look at those 4 teams definitely. LA Galaxy. They just signed Chicharito, Javier Hernandez, Mexican national team, started with Manchester United. Yeah. You want to look at you definitely want to look at Orlando. I don't think that they're going to win it all, but you know what? They play in that atmosphere.
The heat and that humidity
heat.
and whatnot. It's like going up to Denver to play football in the winter. It's that high elevation, cold weather. Okay.
The team that manages the Central Florida heat and humidity the best has a really good shot of winning this entire tournament. And whoever wins it gets a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League next year. So that's a spot that a lot of teams don't usually get the opportunity to have. So one team is obviously going to win it. Whoever manages the heat and humidity, I think, is going to be a real surefire chance at winning the whole thing.
Who's your pick to click? Yeah, one team to choose, gun to your head. You got to go put $100 down right now to win it. Who are you going with?
I don't gamble. Gambling's illegal in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Come on now.
Fine, drive to New Hampshire.
If you had a gun to your
bet.
head, I think a little more than $100 you'd want to put down to save your life.
No, because I'm taking the rest of it to go do whatever I want.
I think LAFC.
LAFC.
That's a team that I think can win it all. They've got a good group. They're playing LA Galaxy. I believe they're playing Houston and they're playing Portland. Those are in the group stage. I think that's a fairly easy group from the way that I'm looking at it for LAFC. But you know what? There's so much parity in MLS, and there's so much. Any team can beat anyone on any given day. You're not taking into account home versus away in this tournament. Everyone's going to be encamped in Orlando for the 3 weeks before, the 2 weeks before they start the tournament. So everyone's going to be acclimated to hotels and playing at 9 a.m., waking up at 4 o'clock and having your breakfast and carb loading that early. If you're playing that first game at 9 o'clock, and then obviously the 8 and 10:30 p.m. games, they're not going to be playing during the regular day from 11 until 7:30, when pre-activation begins for the day for that 8 o'clock game, because it's obviously heat, humidity. You don't want to tire yourself out like that. So, but yeah, I don't think home and away is going to be a factor in this. Everyone's going to be there. It's whoever manages that heat and humidity the best.
All right.
Question.
Answer.
Question for the man. All right.
I will.
Am I Becky Lynch?
Yes. Yes, you are, sir.
All right. Becca,
Big
Messi,
man.
Ronaldo. You got to marry one, fuck one, and kill one. Go. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So here's while listening.
Well, I'm probably
this,
getting rid of Messi because I think he evaded tax evasion. So I think I have to kill him.
No, that's
right?
Ronaldo. Isn't it?
Ronaldo, then he's out too.
Well, he's just extra smart. So
Do the
from an outsider, when I
Yeah.
see the World Cup, But at least in this country, and I would assume all around the world, men's soccer is still more popular than women's soccer. But here in the U.S., our men are what, middle of the pack when it comes to.
I would say that's very fair.
You're generous right now, to be honest, but go on.
Yeah, that is fair.
They're kind of awful.
And
But the women
I don't want to
tough.
say awful. I don't think awful is fair at all. I think they really had a bad run with Jurgen Klinsmann in this last World Cup cycle, and then Bruce Arena came in on board, and it just was not a good fit all around. And Taylor Twellman said it, if you can't beat Panama at home and you can't beat Trinidad on the road, you don't deserve to go to the World Cup. And you know what? That cycle did not get off on the right foot. They were in a hole really, really early. I will give credit to them for getting out of that hole and putting themselves in a position to qualify for the World Cup, because that's what you want to do. You want to qualify and you want to play with the best. But you know what? You're kidding me right now? They can't beat Trinidad on a field that's too wet. No, that was ridiculous. The play that night against Trinidad was pathetic. But yeah,
play out of the Americans, the actual playing field.
Oh, the play out of the Americans was awful.
They were playing like crap. They were playing like crap. I mean,
they were playing scared. That'd be the best way I described it.
That is fair. That is completely 100% fair. I mean, Africans, they're playing on cow pastures in their stadiums in Africa, but we can't play football on a wet field that resembled a sponge. No, come on. They were a little bit too pampered, I think. But you know what? The U.S. women are obviously they're absolutely fantastic. I don't want to get into the equal pay or pay these women or whatnot.
They're a really good team.
Right, but they're
very good. They're
very good.
Good for a long time.
And the thing is that because of Title IX, which came about in the 1970s, that our women had this incredible opportunity to get a jump on the rest of the world. I think the rest of the world is starting to catch up. I mean, you look at that Netherlands team. You look at France,
Canada. Well, no, but they're
good. They're a good team. Okay,
Japan.
Yeah. The rest of the world is starting to catch up. And when you look at this last World Cup for the women, you're looking at a 13-0 result against Thailand, and then from there you got into some more reasonable scores. But you look at the other brackets, you look at Japan, you look at the Netherlands, you look at Germany, you look at Sweden, you look at France. These are countries that are putting resources towards women's soccer, and they are going to catch up. I mean, you look at some of these teams. Germany won the World Cup twice, back to back, 2003, 2007. They're a very good team, and there are some really, really good leagues in the world when it comes to women's soccer. The English league is absolutely fantastic. The Frauen Bundesliga is wonderful. But yeah, it's women's soccer is really taking on. For some reason, you don't see a lot of people in the stands you have in this country, because you got the Washington Spirit playing in like a little college stadium. Same thing with the North Carolina Courage.
I was going to say, I saw the Breakers at Harvard.
Yeah, they're playing in these very small stadiums. The Breakers, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I would love to see the Breakers come back. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I wish it would. But yeah, for some reason, women's sports in this country just do not get that honest shake because of this, this testosterone-driven. Women aren't as good as the men. But you know what? Take a look at the shirt. There's four stars on that shirt for a reason.
I would also just figure because like it's not like our women's ice hockey team is fabulous or phenomenal. They compete for the
Right.
gold medal with
Right.
Canada almost every Olympics. And that's all right. So you expect the U.S. and Canada because of that particular sport. My question is, this is a international. Soccer is more popular than any of the hockey, basketball, and
Correct.
football combined because it's played all around the world. My question is, why are our women just kicking ass and taking names
Title IX.
because of starting in Title IX? Because the rest of the country
Thank Title IX for devoting resources to women's sports the way that they did from 1976 on. And yeah, it took a while. But you want to know something? That 1991, when the United States won the first World Cup for the women's sport of soccer, fantastic. And then it just kept going like that. 1999, I remember where I was when Brandi Chastain hit the penalty and whipped off her jersey. I was over at the Esplanade watching an oldies concert. I remember that. And then the last two World Cups have been fantastic. I watched every minute of them as much as I could. Other jobs got in the way. That happens. But
Stupid work.
yeah, work sucks. Bills, who needs them? But yeah, we were that far ahead. But you know what? The rest of the world is catching up in this sport.
So then I have a follow-up to that then. How the hell can we get our men to catch up with the rest of the world? Because God, I'm telling you right now, man, you know what sucks?
You're
Like
certainly
I
paying
remember
them.
I remember I knew where Landon Donovan was when he scored that goal, right?
Against
I remember
Algeria?
against Algeria. I remember
I was in my old living room right up the road.
I remember going almost toe to toe with Portugal, and like
I'm still in therapy over that.
And it's like we're so close, and we get but yet we play the dumbest style of soccer. We play a very defensive. They don't play, and I say they don't play like the beautiful game, but there is not a lot of creativity. It's very straight and linear. How do we teach our men to stop being dumbasses on the field? Because I am so I will tell you, this is me being that asshole American. I'll freely admit this, but I am so sick and fucking tired of watching a World Cup and not watching my team lift that trophy. I'm sick of seeing fucking Germany lift it. I'm sick of seeing France. I'm sick of seeing Italy. I'm sick of seeing Mexico. I don't want give me the we have the greatest athletes.
China. I'm sick and tired of seeing China in the news every night too, guys.
We have the greatest athletes, and I know that they play other sports. I do.
Yeah.
How can you not get a way to get our athletes or a way to get our soccer players to train together longer, not just for a couple months and then boom, your World Cup, and get our teams better? Because this blows. This just sucks.
There's so many ways to answer that question, and George, I appreciate your passion because I'm in that same boat. However, I got to be kind of realistic that not everyone plays soccer in this country. Okay, Ocho Cinco would play soccer to train to get ready for his football games, and he loves the beautiful game. FC Barcelona. He loves
I
FCB.
won't hold it against him.
That's okay. But there's so many ways that we can take this. The American system now has started the academy system, which really started in 2007 because they really want to win a World Cup. That's not going to happen anytime soon. And they're taking these kids away from their high school teams and not allowing them to play high school soccer because of the coaching at those levels. They're getting supposedly elite coaching in these MLS academies. But to take it a step further, the whole thing of pay for play is really, I think, harming U.S. soccer because
And multiple other sports.
that's true.
For sure.
That's
Yeah.
true. But you know what?
Yeah.
You go down to the inner city of Boston. You go to Dorchester. You go to Jamaica Plain. What do you see kids in the inner city doing? They're playing basketball. They're playing, they're throwing a football around. They're not necessarily kicking the ball. They're not kicking the round ball. They're not, playing baseball. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. They're playing basketball. What these teams need to do is go into the inner cities and say, hey, this is our program. This is what we want to do. We want to eventually win a World Cup, or we want to win an MLS Cup. This is how you do it. You go into the inner cities and you identify these talented players, and then you bring them to your facility and get them ready to play. For some reason, the Revolution fell very, very far behind in this up until about a couple of years ago. But yeah, we have to try to eliminate pay to play in some way, shape, or form, and open the game to everyone. I mean, kids in Brazil, they come out of the womb and they're playing soccer. They play in the streets, in the favelas, soccer all the time. And that's their way to get out of the favelas. You see it all over the world. People are playing soccer and they're getting better at it. And we just have, and I don't want to, down our other sports, because I do love our other sports. But you know what? We got to start really focusing on soccer if we really want to win a World Cup. If we want to be among the best in the world, we really need to start focusing on getting our kids up to this level. And I see a lot in my other job as a high school sports writer of playing multiple sports. Tell me the multiple sports that Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo and David Beckham played, or Franz Beckenbauer or Pelé, Diego Maradona. Tell me what other sports that these players who have won a World Cup, what other sports have they played? No,
fencing,
they have
painting,
played
boxing.
Yeah, right?
They have played football
Cricket,
from
polo.
the time they have come out of their mother until they get to the pros. That's all they do. They play football constantly. That's it.
And the funny thing is, soccer right now, any good sports fan, I mean, I don't know much, if anything, about soccer. I'd love to watch it. I'd love to get more into it. Actually, George, you and I have talked about just sitting down with you and just showing me what the fuck they're doing. I know that round thing goes in that big square net.
Yep.
That's it. There's more to the game. Like hockey for me. I can watch hockey. I know every little ins and outs of hockey. I can understand it. I can watch soccer, but any good sports fan right now should almost appreciate soccer more, because, like we said at the start of the show, as much as it was a joke, it's the first thing coming back. Yeah. So if anything, this is your inner city. This is your driving force.
This is a huge opportunity for Major League Soccer, and I know that there are people who are so anti-soccer. I'm friends with a lot of them. I don't know how that happened, but
yep.
But you know what? This is an opportunity, especially if Major League Baseball drops the ball, which I think is going to happen.
Which they're going to.
I think that's the way this is heading. If I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, Major League Baseball is going to lay a fucking egg. And this is a time for Major League Soccer, for the Revolution, for the entire league. Even the USL Championship, they have a team in Hartford. They're trying to get a team in Pawtucket in the next couple of years. So you know what? This is an opportunity that a lot of people have been waiting for it to happen. They need to grab the bull by the horns. They need to show that this is an elite product. Now, is it going to be up to the standards of the Euro snobs? Probably not. They're not going to like anything that MLS does. But you know what? To get that fan, to get you four or you three into soccer, that would be huge. because it's three people who would not have had. Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what. I'll buy you a beer to watch soccer with me. Let's go.
And
A beer.
Hey, he said
One
in.
beer?
He negotiated poorly. You
we
chose.
didn't negotiate the size.
You chose poorly.
A beer.
No.
Oh wow! A whole
This is
beer.
the opportunity for Major
What?
League Soccer to really make an inroad on the summer sports scene.
Yeah.
Because, and I've said it for years, liking soccer and liking baseball, they are not mutually exclusive. If this was a perfect world, I could be at Gillette watching the Revs play and have Joe Castiglione and whoever is with him at Fenway calling the game. And honestly, with the speed of baseball, I won't miss much.
Yeah.
Or I can be at Fenway watching the Sox in person and listening to Brad Feldman and Charlie Davies in my ear on 98.5. You know,
Yeah.
if fans actually did that, that would be fantastic. It would be a win-win situation. I would like to see the Red Sox schedule more of these 1:30, 2 o'clock games on a Saturday when the Revs are playing at 7:30, and then hightail it from the Fens down to Gillette. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, do like the what is it, the Patriots Day games where the Red Sox play a matinee,
Yeah.
the afternoon they go to the Bruins game after. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a perfect time. And
Without a doubt.
mean, to piggyback a statement before, how long did it take for MLS to get together and say, here's what we got, here's our format, here's our timings, here's our date, here's our time, location?
I think it's something that they were working on for like
Talking
the last
about-
month or two.
But there seemed like there was no
as
bullshit.
The numbers have, yeah, exactly. And there was a little bit.
Yeah, there was about a
of-
bit of a holdout / strike
Yeah.
that could have happened that did get averted.
about a week and a
very-
half ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but honestly, it was when you say it was a blip. It was like, yeah, they could have a labor strike, and like 12 hours later, like, nah, they just negotiated like a 3-year
Yeah.
deal, and it was literally about as simple as that.
And this, but I'm saying like this is not like baseball. This isn't like
Right.
we want to hold up. We want more money. We want to play
Right.
this. We want it. This is like let's just
MLS
play.
has been a great league in terms of labor peace.
Yeah.
You go back 5 years ago, there was a little bit of a threat of a work stoppage, but you know what? They hammered things out. Back in January, they extended the old CBA another week in order to hammer out the current one, and then obviously they've just modified that and they've extended it another year. I think there's a little bit of a difference, obviously, between the investor owners, the investor operators, I should say, as well as the Players Association. I don't think there's ever going to be détente, shall we say. But you know what? They play for the fans. And not everyone in MLS is making, they're not making Mookie Betts money. They're not making,
Neither is he.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
no,
Oh,
no,
shit.
he's not making it either. He's not making Big Papi money. He's
Yeah.
not making Tom Brady money. He's not making Gronk money. He's not making what Zdeno Chara is making, or Patrice Bergeron, or Jason Tatum, or whatnot. They're making, good money. I wouldn't mind living on $85,000 a year at the senior minimum. I really wouldn't mind that at all.
Nope.
So they're humble players. They're very down to earth. I've spent a lot of time with the Revolution players. They're always willing to talk to the media. They're always willing, signing all the autographs in the fort, in the autograph line post match. They do a lot for the community. You just don't really hear a lot about it because the Boston sports media is, been trained for some reason to ignore the beautiful game.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm here, because fuck the media. This is why the Armchair Sports Act
Thank you.
take over. Because
I can go now.
soccer rules. To quote one of my favorite movies of all time, Ladybugs, I don't know much about soccer. All I know is I got a lot of balls. And that's all you need to know.
Oh, Rodney.
I love them. So I have a question for you, Sean, because I am, again, a big soccer fan, a Revs fan, Liverpool fan. I love the game. I love watching it. I am so excited about the Revs, and it has nothing to do with any of the players. I like Carlos Heel. I like
He's
Gustavo
a
Bo.
magician.
I
magician of
thought the
football.
two of them are phenomenal. I think
He
they've
looked-
really got it solidified. at
Gustavo
goalkeeper.
Gustavo looked rather invisible in the first game against Montreal.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, and this whole COVID thing has helped him get back and get back into some shape and rest his knees and rest his body.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I am so more excited about the one thing that they did, which I think legitimizes the revolution and will hopefully bring an MLS title, and that is getting Bruce Arena. I think a lot of people, if you don't follow soccer, he was the national, one of the more heralded U.S. National League national team coaches. He coached the LA Galaxy to a number of victories with Beckham there, and he's just a wonderful tactician and one of the more brilliant minds in American soccer as far as his way of approaching a game. And I really, really think that there's that his addition is going to be the best thing for this club. And I am sort of pissed at the Crafts for not stepping up and doing something like this, whether it's getting a player like, if I raise your hand, who knows who David Beckham is? You know what I mean? Who knows who, right? Who knows who?
Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Basically the same thing.
I'd marry
who knows?
Beckham for Victoria, going back to that original question 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Just saying.
Just saying. Who is the other? Wayne Rooney. Who knows
I
Wayne
think George
Rooney?
went Walt Disney again,
Yeah.
boys.
Who knows Ronaldinho?
He likes
So,
to
like,
freeze
my
in certain
thought
moments.
is the if you know these guys, you know that the MLS is starting to get better, and I get so pissed at
Service.
Bob Kraft that Bob Kraft has not spent any money on this. Did
And
I
we're
freeze
back!
completely?
You
I
freeze
guess
completely.
some-
We
Go
got
back
John
about 30
Beckham.
It was like
seconds.
this.
We got John Beckham. You had a looked like you were doing a wrestling promo. And you just
Like, I thought you were going to be like with a preemptive shh. Just remember, have a whole bag of shh with your name.
What?
Say exactly. What?
What?
What? No, I said I'm pissed at the Crafts for not making this move by getting either a big name talent from, Europe or Central America, South America, wherever, and getting a legit coach. So I have a question. Am I wrong in thinking that Bruce Arena can somehow fix the Revs to bring him to legitimacy down the road?
I think he's fixed the Revs already.
I don't disagree with that statement either, but
I think
they're not there yet.
There's still a lot of work to do, George.
Well, that's what I'm
so
asking.
There's so much work to do. I think that, to bring the uninitiated in, the Revs have been mired in mediocrity for most of the last decade. Okay. They have been also rans in MLS. They went to 5 MLS Cups, the last one being in 2014, and they didn't win any of them. They've been to several U.S. Open Cup finals. They won one in 2007. 2008, they won the Superliga, the North American Superliga, which was a secondary competition, which is now defunct. So it's kind of funny to talk about the Superliga. And the last time that they went to a cup final was 4 years ago in 2016. They lost to FC Dallas, and that was part of a summer swoon that usually happens to the Revolution. In the league, they sucked it up, but you know what? In the Open Cup, they played pretty good football, and against some really good teams. So, yeah, they've been mired in mediocrity, and they had they fired Stevie Nicol as their coach in 2011. He was the one who brought the most success to the team. They hired Jay Heaps, who was born in Nashua, grew up in Longmeadow, played defense for the Revs for the longest time. And they also brought in Mike Burns as their general manager. Mike played on the U.S. national team in '94. He went to Marlborough High School, then to Hartwick College. And he had been in the front office since 2005, but got promoted to general manager in 2011. So when last year came about, he was on his second head coach. They brought in Brad Friedel at the start of the 2018 season to try to, in my view, clean up the club. And he brought in a very strict regimen of not telling the players who was going to be in the starting 11 until about 2 hours before the game. So that kind of ruffled a lot of feathers. But you know what? That's kind of how they do it in other parts of the world. The U.S. game is so much different than in the United Kingdom, in England, or in Germany. You bring someone into the team, you know, you kind of look at this person askance because they're out to take your job. But in the United States, you bring in a new person. It's like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Welcome to the club. They're more familial and all that. So when the club went into the toilet last season, at the start of the season, they had only won 2 games out of their first 12. So that's
Start.
It was not a great start. And when
Well, I was going to say, when Arena came in, it
Yeah.
was like, well, so when he came in, I remember.
Well, hold on. I'm still going. I'm still going.
All right. Well,
Well,
because
I'm
I
still
was trying to
going
get quickly up to this because I
I'm
want to.
still going.
All right.
Hey, I'm taking the scenic route here.
All right.
This is my-
Let's
this
get
is
the
my nickel.
highway and let's go.
For George,
Let's hit the
this is
highway
like
and let's
watching
go.
a porno and like when are they gonna show her tits?
Let's go.
George just wants.
this is
I
I
just
mean,
want-
let's
Anyway.
go.
So
There's no
So hold on.
storyline.
really,
me-
the low point came in late April when Montreal arrived to Hanscom Air Force Base 5 hours before the game. They had some airline trouble in up at Dorval, up in Montreal, and they arrived 5 hours before. I was walking into Gillette that night, and I was walking in with another reporter, and I'm like, 3-0 Revs. I got the 3-0 right, but it was to Montreal with 3 late goals, and I kind of ripped them a new one. A couple weeks later, they lost to Philadelphia 6-1, and then they followed that up with a midweek game on May 8th against Chicago, and they lost 5-0. And at that point, I said, fire someone. I don't care who you fire. Fire me. I don't want to watch this crap.
You're dead.
But the next afternoon, Brad Friedel was given the sack, and the next morning on the 10th, I went down to Gillette because Mike Burns was going to be talking, and I absolutely battered the crap out of him in the verbally, I should say, in the opening of that press conference. He got fired the following Monday night, and then Bruce Arena came in the next day on Tuesday. So when Bruce Arena came in, and we have to kind of backtrack because Mike Lapper who was Brad Friedel's assistant, was made the interim coach for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And he started to really balance things out. And then once Arena came in, he simplified everything. And, you know, he talked to the players and said, you know what, you guys are going to make mistakes and I'm going to make mistakes. It was such a different air about the way that things had been going for the club over the last year and a half to going all the way back to 2012. So now Bruce Arena's in, as George was saying, and he's really turned this club around. You know, they had brought in Carles Gil, a Spanish playmaker from Deportivo de La Coruña in the Segunda of Spain. He also had some English experience as well with Aston Villa. And he started to turn into, the playmaker that, I think a lot of people in Spain wanted to see him become. But then Bruce brought in Gustavo Bo, from an Argentinian player from Xolos Tijuana in Liga MX in Mexico. And he announced his arrival on
With authority.
with authority. It was a thunderous volley from the top of the box, and things started to really, really go the Revolution's way, with the exception of obviously dropping some points here and there, which happens in soccer. But yeah, they made the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. They were in danger of not making it, obviously, when I talked about that start. And now you get this 2-game span in the start of this season, and it kind of didn't look like things were going to go their way again. But then COVID happens, and now here we are. We're starting fresh.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the this MLS season. I'm looking forward to watching, obviously, the Revs. I'm looking forward to losing some weight so the shirt fits a little better, although I will admit I still look sexy. I don't give a damn.
The U.S.
But I
might
just
win a
want to,
World Cup before that, buddy.
Yeah, you can kiss my ass, Rich.
So
But I
is
do
it-
want to thank our guest, Sean Sweeney, for coming on. Make sure you check him out on the Bay State SoccerSentinel.com. On Twitter is Mr. Sean M. Sweeney. So again, Sean, thanks for taking the time. I am sure we're going to touch base at some point later on this year and bring you back on, and maybe we'll cover some stuff after this tournament goes, and we'll see how the rest of the season is, because I know the MLS
Hopefully we
hasn't
have
decided.
another season.
Well, I was going to say, I know the MLS hasn't decided what they're going to do beyond what happens at the tournament, but I do know they're going to be getting back, hopefully, to their home stadiums and starting playing games as normal again, without fans, but as normal. But again, I do want to thank you for taking the time, Sean.
I'm in.
Thank you
I'm
for,
in. Hey, he sold me. I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
my curiosity's been piqued as well.
Yep.
Yeah, this is now swinging like a very softcore Cinemax point to me.
Well, maybe maybe we're gonna have to Armchair Sports guys might have to take a trip, if there's a possibility, out to Gillette at some point. We'll do a little because you can tailgate for soccer.
Yes, you can.
There's a huge. So I've gone to see the U.S. and at Gillette a few times with some friends. And you tailgate before, and there's like a procession line with trumpets and tambourines and cymbals and drums and people
Now,
chanting and drinking and
All
funnels
right,
and just
interest
booze
meters
and
going down, Georgie.
oh,
Yeah,
it's fantastic,
you had me lost at trumpets.
dude. Vuvuzelas for you
Nope.
uneducated fellas. Yeah.
The atmosphere makes the sport. I mean,
Is there more people that will tailgate before a game than the Pats games, or is a Pats game like is Gillette? packed?
No,
not
but
necessarily.
it also depends. So I will tell you, it also depends on the game.
On
So
the
when I went to
opponent,
go see the U.S. play, and they played in like whatever, Banana Head Cup. I don't even care what it was. It was something that they were playing.
Gold Cup.
Yeah, the Gold Cup, whatever it was. I almost said Chiquita Cup because I date back to the 90-something women's thing that I saw back in like 94. But the Gold Cup, so they were playing, it was like Uruguay, Paraguay, Jamaica, and them or something.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the place was packed. And it was packed with international flavors. So and it was cool because you get like the different
that's what I
flavor.
want.
Yeah, you get the different flavor of like the music, the celebrations, the party. And you walk over and you see some people with like a Panamanian flag, and you go over and talk to them, and they give you some food, and you kind of get their culture and you get to know it.
Yeah.
It's fun. And because it's not like, all right, you go to a Patriots Jets game. What's the first thing you're doing to a Jets fan?
Beat the bag out of him and still in
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Boom, kick,
Knew it.
done. And, I mean, that's what I mean. But you see a Panamanian guy, you're like, hey, que pasa? What's up?
beating the bag out of him, sticking his beer.
Of course, right. I mean,
Go Patriots!
obviously.
The interesting thing about attendance at football, you look at Brazil. Brazil is one of the you would expect their domestic league to be one of the best leagues in the world, given that Brazilians live and die with their national team.
Yeah,
their domestic league is considered lower than MLS when it comes to attendance.
Wow.
So you take it with a grain of salt. You go to England, you go to Italy, you go to Spain, you go to Germany. The stands are packed for the most part. But, you go to Atlanta, you can't get a seat at Mercedes-Benz for a five-star
Portland.
team.
Nope.
Portland,
Seattle. Nope.
Seattle.
Both LA
Yeah.
teams. Nope.
Yep.
I mean,
Like I said, I'm in.
I mean, I
I'm
know that
interested.
there was some MPSL teams out in like Kansas City or Cincinnati or whatever
Oh,
that
yeah.
are bringing in 65,000 a game. 65
And that's
for a
Division
Division
Four.
Four.
That's Division
Basically,
Four.
Mike, think of it this way, and Rich, I'll think of it this way. Picture of 64,000 people going to see the Lowell Spinners, but have no affiliation with the Red Sox.
Maybe 640 people going to see this game.
Yeah, and they have affiliation with the Red Sox. Yeah, 60. The people out in Kansas
Slow pitch
City,
softball.
Kansas City are out in Louisville,
Blue
or out
Hell.
in like,
Yep.
yeah, those people out in the Midwest, they are full on banana land for this stuff, and it's great. It's
And-
great.
To be fair to them, some of these markets that have MLS clubs, they don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Look at Portland. Portland, you got the Timbers, you got the Thorns, the women's soccer team, and you've got the
Trailblazers. Yeah.
That's it. You don't have
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot there. Seattle, you got the Mariners, you got the Seahawks. You're going to have an NHL team. You have the Sonics, and now you have the Sounders. The Sounders put a lot of
wasn't Seattle
the Mariners to bed.
Isn't Seattle, and Rich, I'm going to let you get to your question in a second. Seattle, wasn't that owned by Drew Carey?
Yes.
Yeah, Drew Carey.
I don't think he's part of it anymore. But what's his name? The quarterback there for the Seahawks is involved in there.
Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Yes.
And actually, what's his name? They had over 11, but Kevin Durant just tossed some money to an MLS club with Philly. Yep. And what's his name? I know Beckham owns, International, Miami International, or whatever they call themselves
Inter
now.
Miami.
Yeah, them too.
Yeah.
But Rich, you had a quick question. Fire away, sir.
It had to do with he was talking about the Brazilian league being lower, and it popped into my head. I go, a lot of these, like you said, Europe is the hotbed. A lot of these other countries, maybe their programs aren't as popular because don't a lot of their big stars just go play in England and get paid a shit ton of money?
That's fair.
Yeah,
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
And so
maybe they'll
America,
bypass their own league and go somewhere else and get money.
Yeah, like in America, we focus on the four majors, but that's because those stars only play here. They don't go anywhere.
Right.
And in soccer,
That's fair. Yeah, because you know what? They are starting to put more resources into player rosters and player development. So you know what? You're getting a lot of the players that are coming over. You're finding some diamonds in the rough. Carles Gil, who did not score a single goal for Deportivo de La Coruña in the second division of Spain in that half a season before he came to Foxborough, and he ended up scoring 10 goals and adding 14 assists. So you find diamonds in the rough. And Gustavo Bo had half a season in Foxborough. He scored 9 goals. So, you find diamonds in the rough coming to MLS because of the play. And to go back to what you were saying, George, some of that fault is the Crafts. And I think a lot of Jonathan will freely admit that they made a mistake with Gillette Stadium, that they did not design it properly. They designed it with the Patriots in mind, and that is fair. Okay, that's their bread and butter. They can do what they want with that. They could have done what Arthur Blank did with Mercedes-Benz and made it more friendly to soccer, but no, and that's what happened. And in 2006, when that big nor'easter came through, what happened? They ripped up all the grass and they put in turf. And in a way, you can think of that being kind of a olive branch to the revolution. So they're not playing on a crap grass surface that has been torn up by the linemen, the big fluffy ones up front, pushing and grinding and trying.
Thank God I was a middle linebacker.
Hey, that resembles a few of us on this panel here, sir. Not from playing weight or shape, but
I'm just saying. That could be considered an olive branch.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that Robert and Jonathan did not know what was coming down the pipeline in 2007 when David Beckham came to MLS. And that just started this influx of European talent. Steven Gerrard going to
That's another one. Yeah,
LAFC,
my man.
or
Yeah.
just to the LA Galaxy, and a lot of the other ones that have come over.
Wayne Rooney. I mean,
Wayne Rooney playing for DC United.
Yep.
Soccer has always been this hidden. I shouldn't say hidden. It's been around forever, but it's always been this hidden gem.
Yeah.
In the U.S., I've always found it intriguing to watch it. I mean, I don't everything out here, but I've always found it cool watching the World Cup. And I'm glad it's kind of at my back.
And that's
just the intensity of it.
The U.S. soccer fan loves the U.S. national team. They will watch them regardless. But you know what? They just, for some reason, it doesn't filter down to the club level like it does in England.
Well, because I also think is
the English, they love the Premier League.
Because we have the four major teams.
That's true.
They're constantly the Patriots, Red Sox, Bruins, and
that's
Celtics.
Completely fair. But you know what? You can make time for the revolution. You can make time for you can make time for BC on a Saturday afternoon. You can make the drive out to UMass. You can make the fucking drive to Foxborough on Saturday night to watch the Revs. You can do that, or you can just stay at home and watch them.
Right.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Some good soccer talk here on the Armchair Sports Guide. So, again, on behalf of Mike LaChance, Rich Mays, Sean Sweeney, our guest from BayStateSoccerSentinel.com. Find him on Twitter at Mr. Sean M. Sweeney. Thank you again for joining us here on the Armchair Sports Guys. Any parting shots, fellas, before we get the hell out of here?
No.
Rich, no? You want to
Let's see. Soccer has been trying to take a root for decades. I mean, literally everybody our age group played it when we were kids, at least 1 year.
Right.
But like the earliest thing I remember about soccer is Roberto Baggio back in I think 94. But
and for a lot of kids our age, that was like the big thing to discover soccer, because we didn't have a first division team. The NASL was gone by 85, and the New England T-Men, they were gone by 1980. So kids our age, we didn't have that opportunity to follow
the New York Cosmos. It was it, and they were gone. I mean, that was Pele. That was
Pele. That was Beckenbauer.
Yeah.
We didn't give it a chance.
Yep.
And you know what? I didn't give MLS a chance when it first came out. I didn't care about the World Cup '94. It took me until about 2006 when I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. And since then, I can't get enough of it. Yeah. I really can't.
Yeah. No, I'm in. I'm going to give it a shot.
I love it.
I think George has won me over. I think, Sean, you've definitely awesome hearing like the insight more than just Pele and Beckham getting goals. There's more behind it. So
now we're going to get you a PlayStation, get you to stop playing some FIFA. I'm going to kick your ass.
I'm good.
But
I have ColecoVision. Can that do?
Yes.
Let's go back. Hey, Premier League resumes on Wednesday, 1:00.
Premier League resumes Sunday at 2 p.m. When Liverpool comes on and kicks the shit out of whoever they're playing.
They're playing Everton.
I know they are. I know. I'm just.
I have to.
Hey, you know what? To quote The Rock, it doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter because they're going to beat the shit out of them. They're going to beat the shit out of Crystal Palace, and they're going to lift the trophy for the first time in 30 years. And I am going streaking. We're going to the quad. Woo! Let's go.
I have to. My final word. I have to support my cousin's husband. He's from Brazil. I gotta go Corinthians.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Good
luck finding him on TV.
I gotta find. I know exactly. Oh,
good luck finding him on TV.
We got black box channels.
Hey, You know when Chapecoense had that plane crash, you know, all the
Yeah.
eyes of the soccer world were on Brazil,
Right.
and you know, I'll admit I don't know the first thing about Brazilian football except the Brazil national team is legit, you know. So, but hey,
Well, I'm in.
I
You
love
won me
it.
over.
I'll
I
give
love
it a
it.
try.
His
All right.
soft-spoken little voice, Sean. You've won me over, my friend.
Yeah.
got hey, one fan at a time.
Exactly. Exactly.
That will be like the first person I've converted.
I'll meet you in the basement, buddy.
Love it. Love it.
I'll bring the beers.
Just one for me.
Puts the lotion on the basket or gets the penalty kick again.
Puts the lotion on the skin or gets the hose again.
All right. Well, that's how we should end it. Ole, 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 ole. We'll see you later. Have yourselves a great one. Thanks for joining in. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.